Reflections of a Russian Statesman by Konstantin Petrovich Pobyedonostseff. Chapter 4. Trial by Jury. The following is the judgment of a famous English writer, Sir Henry Maine, a profound student of history on the jury system of his country. Quote, "Popular government and popular justice were originally the same thing. The ancient democracies devoted much more time and attention to the exercise of civil and criminal jurisdiction than to the administration of their public affairs. And as a matter of fact, popular justice has lasted longer, has had a more continuous history, and has received much more observation and cultivation than popular government. We have in England a relic of the ancient popular justice in the functions of the jury. The jury, technically known as the country, is the old adjudicating democracy, limited, modified, and improved in accordance with the principles suggested by the experience of centuries, so as to bring it into harmony with modern ideas of judicial efficiency. The change which has had to be made in it is in the highest degree instructive. The jurors are 12 instead of a multitude. Their main business is to say aye or no on questions which are doubtless important, but which turn on facts arising in the transactions of everyday life. In order that they may reach a conclusion, they are assisted by a system of contrivances and rules of the highest artificiality and elaboration. An expert presides over their investigations, the judge, the representative of the rival and royal justice, and an entire literature is concerned with the conditions under which evidence on the facts in dispute may be laid before them. There is a rigid exclusion of all testimony which has a tendency to bias them unfairly. They are addressed, as of old, by the litigants or their advocates, but their inquiry concludes with a security unknown to antiquity, the summing up of the expert president, who is bound by all the rules of his profession to the sternest impartiality. If he errs, or if they flagrantly err, the proceedings may be quashed by a superior court of experts. Such is popular justice, after ages of cultivation. Now it happens that the oldest Greek poet has left us a picture, certainly copied from reality, of what popular justice was in its infancy. The primitive court is sitting. The question is guilty or not guilty. The old men of the community give their opinions in turn. The adjudicating democracy, the commons, standing round about, applaud the opinion which strikes them most, and the applause determines the decision. The popular justice of the ancient republics was essentially of the same character. The adjudicating democracy simply followed the opinion which most impressed them in the speech of the advocate or litigant, nor is it in the least doubtful that, but for the sternly repressive authority of the presiding judge, the modern English jury would, in the majority of cases, blindly surrender its verdicts to the persuasiveness of one or other of the counsel who have been retained to address it. From Popular Government, pages 89 to 91, published London, 1885. These are the words of an Englishman, a profound student of his country's history and a deep thinker. We involuntarily remember the fate of this unhappy institution in countries where the historical and economical conditions from which in England it sprang do not exist. To those who introduced this institution into continental countries, we might apply the Russian proverb, "They hear a sound, but know not where it is." It is at once reckless and irrational to entrust to the justice of the people the decision as to the guilt of an accused person, without devising practical measures of discipline, and without preparatory study of this alien institution in the land of its origin and with all its complex surroundings. The consequences are apparent. After tests extending over many years, in every country where trial by jury modeled upon the English system has been established, the question has risen by what it is to be replaced to avoid the inconsequence of judgments of which it has been the cause. Such difficulties multiply daily and have permeated even those states where there is a strong judicial system, the product of centuries of experience and of rigorous discipline in science and practice. It is not hard to understand the consequences of popular justice in those younger states which lack these saving elements, where, instead, we find an innumerable host of advocates who, impelled by ambition and selfishness, quickly attain that remarkable skill in the arts of casuistry and verbal subtlety needed to influence a jury of incongruous constitution, chosen at random or with ulterior design, by whom the elements of justice are inaccessible, and the necessity for subjecting to analysis the mass of facts requiring consideration ignored. Behind these comes the motley crowd, attracted as to a play, to dissipate the monotony begotten of idleness, the mob, in the phraseology of idealists, denominated the people. It is not to be wondered at that with such conditions the consequence so often corresponds with the judgment which I have taken from Sir Henry Maine, that the modern jury, in the majority of cases, surrenders its verdict to the persuasiveness of one or other of the counsel who have been retained to address it. This has been Mr. Patriarch. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, links to PayPal and Subscribestar can be found below. Special thanks to my backers for their continued support of this channel. Please join us next time for Chapter 5 of Reflections of Russian Statesman, The Press. I'll see you next time.